Hi, in crisis, we realize our true potential. Uncertain and difficult times test our strength and capabilities to turn a crisis into opportunity. In theory, this sounds interesting, but is it possible? Well, yes, it is. And today, we are going to learn about a company which has not just sailed through this pandemic, but has shown tremendous growth. Nilon's Enterprise Private Limited has been into existence for 58 years. The company is into processed food segment. Now the big question really is, how did the company manage to grow in these tough times? And what better way to find an answer to this than to hear it from the person in charge? Today, we are in conversation with Mr. Rajheev Agrawal, Director and CEO of Nilon's Enterprise Private Limited. Rajiv joined the company in 2004, and in his leadership, the company has witnessed a 55x growth in the last 15 years and continues to grow amid this global crisis as well. Welcome, Rajiv, and thank you for joining us for this session on company's journey through pandemic and its growth lessons.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, you joined Nilon's 15 years ago, which was a 42-year-old company then. Since you've joined, the company has seen 55x growth, which is astounding. We'd like to hear from you. How did you manage to achieve this?
I think we did hundreds of things, small things, or one or two big things. It will take an entire new session to discuss in entirety how did that growth happen. But suffice to say that, if we focus on 2-3 aspects for the purpose of this discussion, the company when I joined in 2004 was a 42-year-old company. It had potential. It was inward-looking company. And after I came in, we started looking outward. What are the opportunities? What are the, things we need to change? And how do we involve the entire team? How do we galvanize the team into I would say, a committed and a passionate team? So motivation, looking outward, and extensively traveling for the first 5 years of my career here was the key. Going to the ground and understanding what are the problems people are facing, what are the problems our distribution chain partners are facing, and what do we need to do in terms of expanding our distribution footprint. So, in short, motivating people, giving them the due in terms of appreciation, in terms of rewards when they did well, and setting up a system where they are in constant touch and guided by the head office team, and extensive traveling by myself, where I used to travel almost 28 days in a month for the first 5 years.
Wow.
So that gave us a lot of food for thought in terms of what are the opportunities we need to exploit, why our people are not so connected, and how to make them connected. And once your people part is in place and the product part is in place and the distribution channel is motivated, the product and the brand had potential. So I think we allowed that potential to come out in terms of the product, and we allowed the potential of the people also to come out. Because in the end, a company is a set of people who take either the company backward or forward.
Certainly. People are an important element in any organization. And speaking about people in the current context, most of the companies, apart from essential food and pharma, are struggling really to survive. Now, Nilon's being in the discretionary food products is not just surviving, but thriving. So how did you make it possible?
I think Nilon's team, as I explained in my earlier in your earlier question, is a very passionate team. Of course, we are in the discretionary part of the food products, which means we are not part of atta, dal, chawal, chini, which people anyway have to buy, which is called non-discretionary or essential. we are into various food products which are not essential, nice to have, but not essential. And as we all know, the focus was during this pandemic to buy essential food items. There were lots of challenges in terms of, first of all, starting the operations once lockdown was announced. But to answer your limited part of the question, how did the consumer buy our non-discretionary, non-essential portfolio when people were focusing on essentials? I would say ensuring the last mile delivery to the retailers and making the product available when others were not available. So whatever portion of the consumer were buying these non-essentials, we were, because of a variety of reasons, we were the first to ensure in the market compared to our competition that our products are available at the retail shelf, and the last mile delivery was ensured. And I would say, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai, or I would say availability was the key. Consumers, not all of them were buying, but whoever was buying, we were there for him.
Certainly.
Or her.
And you put some interesting points here, and we'll be talking about it. For example, availability, so supply chain issues, logistics, all of this are important, and we'll touch upon this. But first, I would like to hear from you on the other aspect, which is where you started, right? Which is about people. Now, we understand that people today are insecure, they're scared, they're not feeling confident. And you have a team of about 4,000 distributors and 800 feet on street. Now, how did you really galvanize your people so that they are engaged and they are motivated?
See, people part in this pandemic was very, very important. And as you rightly said, people were feeling scared, and their families also were scared that the breadwinner, even if he doesn't earn, he should not die of this pandemic. So I think that rightly we did 2 or 3 things very early on in the pandemic, right from day one of lockdown. We, I think as a company, listened to a lot of experts worldwide, and we realized early on that we have to learn to live with the virus, with many of other companies realized much later on. So once we realized that we have to live with the virus after listening to the experts all across the world, we said we will live with the virus and work during this, and that we decided right on the day of Janta Curfew. And when this lockdown was announced, we held extensive meetings with our people online and assured them that safety is the first concern of the company. So feet on street will not go to the market. They'll work from home. They'll call up all the distributors, retailers, wholesalers, and arrange the last mile delivery through various means which could be made available. There was a lot of panic and confusion. And in that, we said, whether any sale happens or not, you will not be fired. We will protect your job. And we used social media also to convey this message broadly. And in particular, we had group meetings on various, I would say, online platforms. Job will not go, and come what may, you will be paid 100% salary. And come what may, the company's first and foremost focus is to ensure your priority. You ensure your safety. Safety is our priority. And we also arranged, 10 lakh rupee life insurance for them. God forbid if something happens. But we said we'll not put any person in that kind of a situation where his safety can be compromised. Having said these 3 things, the people were enthused because it's already a passionate army. They started working, and people issue, if handled well, they stood us in good stead, and people were, all out. There were 4,000 distributors, 3,000 of them did not want to ensure last mile delivery. They motivated them, because first they have to be motivated, they have to be convinced that we need to work and live with the virus. Then only they can motivate in turn the 4,000 distributors to ensure last mile delivery. So people part was very, very important, and we explained to them. We removed the insecurity that was part of it. A lot of companies were firing the workforce or telling them only 50% of the salary will be paid, or 30% salary will be paid, no TADA will be paid. And at that time we said, no, you will get your full salary, your job will be protected, and your safety is our concern. And the people bought into it. No company can do alone. So we needed all these people in the, I would say, entire chain to be active and motivated, and we took care of that very, very upfront manner.
That is inspiring, and I'm sure a food for thought for a lot of aspiring business leaders and people leaders. If you take care of your people, rest all things probably can be managed as well. Thank you so much for bringing this element out. Now let's look at the other areas which you were mentioning a while earlier, which was, you said, consumer offtake, availability, supply chain. So let's talk about these things. Now, most of the organizations are struggling with supply chain issues, right? And for growth, a company needs a supply chain to be at 100% or maybe more, especially in an industry where supply chain is mostly unorganized. So how did you manage those supply chain issues?
You have hit a very important point during this pandemic, which all the companies faced, and we were no different. We rely for our packing material and raw material on not very large companies. They are small scale sector. They don't know too much about how to manage the regulatory environment. And if we don't get packing material, raw material, you forget about any growth. You forget about even having production. So we had maybe raw material, packing material for most of our products for the, let's say, next 15 days or so. Our challenge was to, in this 15 days, make sure that all these people, fortunately food was, bracketed under the essential services. So we helped all our packing material suppliers in getting permission from the local authorities or collector office. There was a dedicated team of 2 people who were helping these people talk to the authorities. And when they were in the authorities office, convince the assistant or the second or third person in the collector office and get them permission. So if we are required as a food company to ensure that our products are available in the market, how can we do that unless we have packing material? So we faced lots of issues. Lots of our units who supply raw material, packing material went into containment zone or red zone, where permission was difficult. But we were telling the same thing to them also, what we told our employees, that we need to learn to live with the virus. You have overheads, you have employees whom you need to pay salaries. Lives are important and that should take priority, but livelihood is also important. So that kind of continuous discussion and helping the ground level people with the support from top management, senior management was the key in ensuring that the supply chain remained active. There were problems. I would not say that problems were not there. And those problems we could handle as a team. And those suppliers who are long-term suppliers, they did help us when we were very clear in our communication. So communication was important. Helping them find a way how to work was important. Helping them get permission was important. And I think since we jumped on this early on, we had a head start. We had a head start of, let's say, 10 to 15 days compared to our competition in terms of ensuring that supply chain was more or less working smoothly.
That's really interesting to understand that being proactive can really help one get a head start, and how critical is it? But while we are talking about the supply chain and the distributors, on the ground level, at the ground level, for example, we also heard that there were few trucks plying on road. There were state border issues, which are very tactical in nature. So, how did you manage to solve these problems at the ground level about transport and stuff like that?
It's a very important point because, initially there were fewer trucks available. Lot of, like any other human being, the drivers also were afraid to come out on the street. Their families were affected. They said, let's not work till everything gets sorted out. And not that trucks were not plying. In a small place like Jalgaon, where most of our factories are, it's a small place, and few trucks come there. And there are large units also from big business houses in Jalgaon. They also wanted trucks. So there was kind of a competition. And as I said, our senior level and top management level people were very, very generous in helping the ground level people in terms of talking to those transporters, in terms of grabbing a larger share of the trucks that were coming to Jalgaon and giving them food for the entire way. If you are going, let's say from Jalgaon to Raipur in Chhattisgarh, the drivers were provided food so that they don't have to stop. If food is not available, they were given a 1 kilo pickle and other, puri, sabji kind of a things, which, these drivers love. So for the entire journey, we managed food for them. We gave some payout directly to the drivers. And in the entire transport sector of Jalgaon, it became famous that Nilons is a company which takes care of you in terms of food, which takes care of you in terms of giving you some extra payout and bonus. So we could get a larger share of the trucks that were coming. The second problem was the rules were not clear at the ground level. The last policeman who is he did not know that essential service truck has to be allowed by him. He would stop any truck. So then we needed to talk to that policeman, talk to his seniors and get the truck released. And we started putting essential food services banner or poster on the truck also. It helped, but there were huge problems. And we hit some unconventional ways of solving them. Other companies will talk to the driver and said, okay, you talk to them, manage it. We said, no, we'll help you out. Let us speak to the policeman on duty. We say, sir, you are doing a good job, but this is part of essentials, and government has allowed the grocery stores to be open somewhere for a particular period of time, somewhere during the entire day, and we need to supply to the country these essential items. Then he would say, no, I don't know all this. Then we will say that, please, can we talk to your senior, the station house officer. Sometimes he will say, no. Then we will still persist, talk to him 2-3 times, and then get the truck released. So goodwill generated by the company in terms of taking care of the drivers, generating a buzz within Jalgaon that this is a company which is humane, got us a fair share of the trucks that we needed, and helping them along the way till they reached the destination was also something which we can say helped us a lot.
Interesting, very interesting. As they say, planning is as good as execution. And the fact that you mentioned that the entire senior leadership, senior management was available and ready to intervene at that level speaks volumes about how successful the organization has been in this pandemic. But another thing that I wanted to ask is, while we are talking about supply chain logistics, I wanted to talk about the consumers also. Now, we understand that consumers were buying non-discretionary items mainly. So how did you really ensure that customers ended up buying your products as well?
See, one of our products, main products is pickle also. Though we are in a lot of other categories. We had a very interesting, during this period of pandemic, social media campaign, where we used lots of, I would say, what the new age dietitians and nutritionists are saying. They are saying make pickle part of your daily diet because it has natural probiotics, it helps in digestion. If your digestion is fit, then your immunity is super fit. So we use that kind of motivational things through social media campaign, and we also have good relations with our retailers. So when there was nothing available from our competition and people who wanted to buy or who had seen our social media campaign, the product was available. In the end, I would say three things: making it available when others were not, and running this social media campaign relating to digestion part, because there is this is part of our Indian food wisdom. The pickle is thousands of years old Indian food wisdom, where the lactic acid is created by interplay of the fruit and vegetable juices, the spices which are very beneficial for our health, all those spices that go into there, and they react with the salt and create natural probiotic. So we use the natural property of one of our main products to create a buzz around the brand. And when you create a buzz around the brand, then your other products are also, they also benefit. And these were instrumental in ensuring that our products were bought by the consumer.
Wow. Looks like Nilons had an early start in putting everything, logistics, availability, safety, people, everything together. So what has been the growth year on year?
Where our competition is looking at a flat quarter or a degrowth quarter because of various reasons, in terms of, I think we are close to 24% growth in the first quarter compared to same quarter last year. And I would really commend the Nilons team, because this is extraordinary, because we are not part of essentials. We are part of discretionary sector, where the consumer decides whether to buy or not to buy. And in times like this, people focus more on essentials. So this kind of growth, I would say, goes a long way in endorsing the kind of teamwork Nilons had.
Wonderful. Congratulations. The numbers speak for the organization, the senior leadership, and the passion that you were talking about on its own. Now, as we are coming to a conclusion of this session, we would like to hear any parting thoughts that you would like to share with us.
I would say that, if you run a business, growth should be part of your DNA. And growth is a mindset. And that mindset is helped by positive thoughts and looking for opportunities. So I would advocate that people should have a growth mindset, especially people who aspire to become leaders. You have to do the next level job. If you are not a manager, you want to be a manager, do a manager's job, the manager's job will follow. But a very important element of that, I would say at the cost of repeating, that you should have a growth mindset, and then the opportunities will unfold in front of you.
Absolutely. This is the need of the hour for all the aspiring leaders, be it on the people side or on the business. Growth mindset is the key, leading businesses successfully. Thank you so much for speaking with us and sharing your experiences. Wishing you and Team Nilons all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Himanshu.
Thank you.